will now be targeting Labour votes. We're coming for Labour, be in no doubt about that.
What a story, the breakthrough of reform.
My plan is to build a mass national movement over the course of the next few years and hopefully be big enough to challenge the general election properly in 2029.
This is a significant breakthrough for reform. Don't forget, this is a party that has only really been in existence for a matter of a couple of years. The Brexit Party in 2019 stood aside in the vast majority of seats to allow Boris Johnson to sweep through, and you can see what a difference that would have made.
This Labour government will be in trouble very, very quickly.
What does Nigel Farage do with this genuine platform that he's now built in Parliament and will deploy?
Well, I said a few weeks back that there was going to be a reckoning on election night, and Ashfield, which is the capital of common sense, they have bought that reckoning. Now, this wonderful place, which I call my home, is going to have a massive say in how this country is shaped in the future. I want my country back.
He will use this to the maximum to leverage his position. And I think that because Farage is the charisma that he is, I think that he will eclipse whoever becomes the next Tory leader.
And for all of us that voted Brexit, and for everybody that helped them win that 80-seat majority under Boris Johnson in 2019, they have betrayed our trust and they deserve to lose the election and lose it badly.
I've come out here because I want to support Nigel. I think he's the most radical thing that has happened to British politics in a millennium, and I think I want to give him all the support I can possibly give him.
It looks like they're really eating into that Labour heartlands, in that old red wall, in the old Brexit heartlands where Boris Johnson did so well. People aren't immediately going to Labour, they're going to reform. Now, Nigel has spent this entire campaign saying there's something happening out there. It's migration. The only thing that people are concerned really about on a mass scale is migration, both illegal and legal. Legal migration numbers at record levels, 700,000 people arriving, more people arriving than leaving last year. A city the size of Birmingham having arrived in the last 2.5 years. That issue is what really, I think people are so frustrated with the government out there that they're just not getting a grip of it. Then you've got the small boat issue. Farage was an early adopter on this cause. He was out there on the boats with cameras, filming people arriving years before the story really became the sort of hot topic it eventually became for Rishi Sunak. So that migration issue. But I mean, that's the top line. I mean, the other thing is Reform's Manifesto was a sort of it was almost like a candy shop for Conservatives. There was massive low taxes, there was an end of net zero, there was huge reductions in the size of the state. Farage knew he wasn't going to have to deliver any of that in power, but it was really offering that true blue Tories, red-blooded Conservatives, working class voters in the north, Brexit supporters, everyone could grab something from it. So it looks like that sort of broad coalition, once sat on the top on by Boris Johnson, has been basically eaten into by Reform. And it's not just in Britain we're seeing a shift to the right. Look at the results in France last week. Look at Italy, Giorgia Meloni, another right-wing leader who capitalised on the discontent in countries about migration.
But the dynamics of this particular election, with Reform suddenly being the catalyst for more change than, in fact, Labour is indicating.
With a big, vocal, noisy Reform bloc in the House of Commons, you wonder whether they're able to sort of drag the Conservative Party more to the right. We've already had Dame Andrea Leadsom, a former Tory leadership contender, reacting to the results tonight, saying, actually, you know what, maybe we weren't Conservative enough, maybe we were the problem, and maybe we should have been listening more to people. Expect to hear a lot more of that in the coming weeks, days, well, coming hours, in fact, as the sort of battle for the soul of the Conservative Party sort of plays out in public. But Reform will be there trying to drag the Tories to the right. Nigel Farage is very coy about whether he'd ever join the Conservative Party. If perhaps he was a sort of single agent in the House of Commons or had one or two MPs, you could imagine a situation where he sort of went back to the Conservatives, so to speak, but actually now with a significant number.
Well, I think I'm probably responsible for him running because he wasn't running really Question Time, and I forced him into it, and now he has to be accountable. And that's been long overdue, Nigel Farage being held to account now. He can't hide behind saying, well, they're all doing it the wrong way about everything.
He'll be able to be his own voice, and it's going to be fascinating how that reacts with the Tory party. Could we even see defections from the Conservative Party to reform? The battle is on, and Keir Starmer with a massive majority, he's a lucky guy tonight because even the remaining opposition to him in the House of Commons, deeply, deeply split.